G-Show land, and welcome to another episode of the G-Show podcast. I am G1, and I still haven't figured out a way to stop saying all these G's in the intro. This is the Godzilla Block Party. We coming to you, we're doing this on a Sunday, October 13th of all times. We did not get to do it on Thursday. By the way, quick shout out, happy birthday, Gam Gams.
Oh yeah, happy birthday.
That's right, it's Gam Gam's birthday. Andrew celebrating his some odd year of life, and I hope he's celebrating it well. So he's not here, but you know who is? My right hand when it comes to Godzilla on a G Show, my brother Chase G73 Megsy. What's going on?
Oh, what's up, guys? Happy Sunday.
Happy Sunday, seriously. So, okay, not much in the realm of news transpired since the last podcast we did. And the last podcast we did was about a trailer not transpiring. That did not happen, okay? So there hasn't been a trailer since then. There has been no news whether a trailer is coming out or not. So the trailer talk, as of right now, Chase, I'm going to cut it off. We're not going to even bother with it until it actually drops. I don't care what he say, she say. I don't care who the reliable sources are, because the fact of the matter is, there is no reliable source unless it comes from Legendary's mouth itself, because even Toho might have said something that didn't come to pass. So until we get official word from Legendary themselves, I ain't talking about a trailer until it drops, which is probably going to be November 3rd on Godzilla's 65th birthday. I'm just saying.
Or February, and then we get an announcement the movie is delayed to August.
Holy crap. Or that. So anyway, but there was something that did drop this weekend that you brought to my attention. And, bro, I'm looking at the image right now, and I'm 100% for this, man. Take it. What is this image that you sent me, bro?
All right, so LA Comic-Con is going on as of right now, and they have, surprisingly, they have a Godzilla panel that no one mentioned or no one talked about. I'm kind of really surprised because no one has been talking about this. I didn't even know LA Comic-Con was happening, let alone a Godzilla panel. And they absolutely have a panel going on, and this image dropped the other day, and or actually yesterday, dropped Saturday, and it is of a Titan called Kamazutz or Kamazutz or something like that. I don't know how to say.
Kamazutz. That's a weird name, bro.
Yeah, but it translates to death, like death god, something like that. I looked up a whole thing about it, and it translates to something. I don't remember exactly what it was, but it translates to something pretty scary, pretty Halloween-y, if you ask me.
Just in time.
But it appears there's a big video about it. There's a panel. You can watch it, and they talk about it, and it's going to appear in a Kong prequel novel, a graphic novel, to Godzilla vs. Kong. So that's kind of interesting. We're getting another tie-in novel, I guess, which makes sense because we had one for King of the Monsters. And now we're getting one for Godzilla vs. Kong, which is interesting, and I think that's pretty cool. But this bat, it is a bat.
It is a bat.
I love it. I love bat monsters. I've been saying I would love to see Godzilla and Kong, or just Godzilla fight a bat monster since the Godzilla animated series, when they had that one bat from Africa and stuff. I loved that in the cartoon. I thought it was a cool monster. It was one of my favorites. I would love to see like a live action, bat. Just Godzilla fight some type of bat-like wing, because it makes sense to me, and we haven't seen anything like that. But the question is are we going to see it in a live action, or is it strictly just going to be a graphic novel monster? And I'm also interested to see how it ties into Godzilla vs. Kong, if it is a prequel novel, and yeah, I'm stoked about it. I'm all for it. I really wonder if there were any other monsters that were talked about or leaked or anything like that. But I just think that's really interesting. Just the whole idea that they had a Godzilla panel, but no one talked about it, and that obviously obviously with this news, Godzilla vs. Kong is still coming. So that's good news to me. And I mean, and obviously, like with the past things, with the licensing expos and stuff like that, obviously Godzilla vs. Kong is still coming. But this is just kind of more confirmation that to me, it's better. Because licensing expos, to me, are kind of like, what's the word, underground? Because they're only for like critics.
Yeah, they're not for the public.
Yeah, corporations. But when it's something like this, it gives you a little bit more hope. And so I have good hope for this. But yeah, I'll leave you with the floor. Yeah.
Well, I'll be honest. I didn't even know the Los Angeles Comic-Con was a thing. It seems like Comic-Cons now are becoming the new norm. They're popping up everywhere. And that's not to say that they haven't been around, because they could have been around, all of these Comic-Cons that you're hearing about now could have been around forever. They're just gaining more notoriety because, well, like comic book movies like The Avengers and even Joker that came out last weekend, they're huge. You know what I mean? They're big things now. And Comic-Con isn't just about comic books anymore either. It's more of a pop cultural event. So, yeah, I've never heard of Los Angeles Comic-Con until you brought it to my attention. And then there's the Instagram feed just flooded with, certain people I follow that were all over Comic-Con Los Angeles. And we just had the New York Comic. You would think that something like this would have been promoted there. And so it's kind of weird not to see that then and to get this now. But I guess the proximity, LA, legendary, it's all, it's in the same town. So
why not be there?
Right. Now, as far as this goes, I absolutely love this thing. I love this brand new Titan. And you guys, obviously, this is going to be the thumbnail photo so you can see what we're talking about. But I love this new Titan, this weird bat-like creature. That the wings, they stick out for me. Like, I love this, I don't know, this like gnarly, decrepit wing stuff. The face is awesome. I mean, it's a blurry image. It's not the best image. It's not a high definition image, but this image is worthy. Worthwhile. No doubt about it. It kind of reminds me of Godzilla in the Dark Horse comics. He fought that one bat creature that I cannot remember its name. That had like a supersonic attack. A cry. I love that thing.
Yeah, that's the bat that I was referencing.
Yeah, so that thing was super cool. I just, man, it's crazy. This is what I like with Legendary, how they do it with the comic book tie-ins, the graphic novel tie-ins. Even though I did not like the Godzilla Awakening, if I'm not mistaken, the prequel to 2014. I didn't.
Yeah, that was Awakening.
Yeah, I didn't like that. I'm not 100% on board with the prequel book for King of the Monsters. I really...
Yeah, the Aftershock.
Aftershock, yeah, that kind of... This was... Yeah, it didn't do it for me. It didn't do it for me. I didn't like it. But I really did enjoy the Kong companion graphic novel, the one that took place in 1996 with the guy from Kong Skull Island. Why can't I remember his name right now? Help me out, Chase. The black scientist that discovered the Hollow Earth theory.
Oh, Brooks.
Brooks, with his son going to Skull Island. I enjoyed that. There's certain things in there, like one of the teammates going crazy and starting shooting people, like, just becoming wacky. Like that was kind of like, eh. But overall, I did enjoy that. There was this mystery to it. There was this certain aura, and it kind of reminded me of Godzilla 2014. So I guess what it is, it's Skull Island. Skull Island is just a mysterious place. And the movie really touched on that in terms of what else could be living here on this island. I mean, we had that giant spider crab tree walking thing, like looked like a tree, and it wasn't.
Yeah, and the buffalo, the water buffalo.
The water buffalo, the megalon log.
Yeah.
Let's make no mistake about it. He had the megalon crest horn. I loved it. and of course the skull crawlers. It's a mysterious place, and the freaking little pterodons. And
oh yeah, and the giant squid.
Oh right, the giant squid. Look, it's a plethora of monsters on Skull Island, and it really could be the hub of all of this, you know? So, yeah, who's to say that this Kamazats or death god gigantic bat creature isn't hiding out in a mountain somewhere or hibernating? Hibernating is probably the better word to use. Hibernating, and has been awoken by either King Ghidorah's call or Godzilla's roar at the end of King of the Monsters. It's 100% plausible. I like it. I think Peter Jackson had Kong fight bats.
Yeah.
He did, right? So that's cool. Maybe a little tip of the hat to that. I'm excited for this, bro. I really am. And I wish there was more information that was out that we could, talk about, like a release date. Because a release date for the graphic novel will definitely put us in a ballpark range of, is this movie really still coming out in March, or are we going to push it back?
I love that you just said that, but I'll let you finish.
No, go ahead.
I see. Here's the thing. I was absolutely thinking about that because I was like, if a graphic novel is coming out and it's supposed to be a prequel novel to tie in with Godzilla vs. Kong, when is that coming out? Because you can't have Godzilla vs. Kong. I mean, I guess you could have Godzilla vs. Kong still come out in March, but then the prequel novel is like pushed back a couple months. But to me, it's like, what's the point with that? But I know the prequel novel came out for King of the Monsters, and that came out way earlier than Godzilla King of the Monsters.
Like a month. So yeah, about a month.
I was thinking that if the plan is this is supposed to be a prequel tie-in, they need to have that out before March. And I don't know if there's no release date for this book. As far as there's nothing reported on it. So that I was thinking that too. Another reason why I think Godzilla vs. Kong is being delayed, because now they've announced a graphic novel coming out, and there's no release date. So I was thinking, obviously, if there's no release date, maybe it's not coming out anytime soon yet. So I'm interested to learn more as well. And I guess that's what we're just going to find out. I just don't know when. I mean, obviously, Legendary has to make a big announcement for these things. And it's like, when are they and where at are they going to make these announcements? Because
what a great way to segue into our next small little tiny, it really makes no matter or difference. But because you just said that, I feel it is necessary now to bring up the fact that Warner Brothers has hired on a former Disney marketing director. And
yes,
maybe that is their plan is to have that person come up with a marketing strategy. And because I don't know how long the person's been hired for, but maybe that's one of the things on top of everything else that you have to do for that position. Marketing strategic marketing person for an entire company. It's not just based off of one movie, but an entire library of cinema. So maybe that person right now is putting together a plan to do something, and until that plan is finalized within the company, we are, they're being bum on any type of release dates.
And that's a good point. It's funny to me too, but I will say I definitely see that Legendary is wanting to make sure everything is successful. I'm glad that they hired in the marketing, because maybe that's also the answer to King of the Monsters. Maybe that's the definitive straw, is that King of the Monsters marketing wasn't as good as they expected it, and then they're like, all right, now we're going to hire him to do it. Maybe that's our answer to why King of the Monsters didn't do as well as it did. But I'm optimistic. If it helps if this guy can help Legendary and Warner Brothers and make the movies successful and stuff and have a good marketing strategy, I'm all for it. But the question is when was he hired? And see, and all of this stuff to me is just more reasoning of why Godzilla vs. Kong is being delayed. Because if you now need to reinvent a marketing strategy, I don't see that being anytime soon. I don't see that being a quick thing. Now, I don't know how it works. I don't know how marketing scheduling works, or how it works, or anything of that. So I don't know. But it just gives me more speculation that, like, I'm not going to be surprised if they say Godzilla vs. Kong is delayed.
Right.
Now, I don't know if it is or not, but I'm excited to see what is done with this guy.
Now,
what can he do? What's going to be different? What were you going to say?
I want to, again, I tend to do this a lot. I'm going to take a step out of my fandom and my own personal fanboys, right? My fanboy bias. And I'm going to say, with a movie like this, they wanted this franchise to be a tentpole for Legendary. Same thing with Pacific Rim. You Guillermo del Toro started a franchise, and it was like, oh, okay. And Legendary is not a stranger to making these types of movies. You go back and you look at The Great Wall, for instance. That's a really fun monster movie. And it's a period piece set in like a feudal China. It's a fun movie with monsters.
Wrath of the Titans and Clash of the Titans remakes.
Wrath and Clash of the Titans. Absolutely. So Legendary is not afraid to make monster movies, is what I'm saying. Whether albeit gigantic titans or, monsters like Medusa and mythological creatures. They're not afraid to do this. They've cornered a market there. The problem is with Godzilla, they really, really swung for the fences and struck out. And again, a lot of it has to do with, in my opinion, the way they marketed this movie. They really went all out. That is not a detriment to them. I actually applaud them for that, for trying to get it in as many faces as possible and putting it pretty much across the world. Like, they went global with this thing. But the money that it takes to do something like that is insane. There's nobody that can convince me unless I actually see the books from Legendary's accountant themselves that says, no, we only spent $10 million on doing that. It was nothing. It was chump change, which is not the case. There's no way. They lit up the Dubai Tower with Godzilla's atomic breath. That is fantastic. Are you kidding me? That's fantastic. But that's also expensive. So, all that being said, I don't think with this new person coming in, I honestly think they said, okay, we got to take a smaller approach to this. And this is not the only thing on his itinerary. This person is going to have, are we doing a new Harry Potter movie? What do we got to do with that? Whatever Warner Brothers has up his sleeve, that should be a, bring people into the theaters type of movie. What are we going to do with that? How are we going to play with these franchises? So when it comes to like this side, the Legendary Monsterverse, you take it, you got to be like, okay, we did the big extravagant thing. It did not work. We got to bring it back, bring it down some, make it a little bit smaller, a little bit more for just the fans. That's the way I look at it. Again, give it just to the fans. And let that be enough. Now, we don't know how much this movie is going to cost to make. We don't know what Adam Wingard, got to make this movie in terms of budget. You would think that it should be a little bit more than King of the Monsters, only because you have two titans of the screen, like seriously, of the genre. Yes, granted, you had King Ghidorah, Rodan, and Mothra, but do you think there's going to be there's no doubt in my mind, we're going to see all of these other kaiju in there. And I'm not saying they're going to have like 5 minutes show-stealing scenes. But there's no way we don't get Behemoth, running amok. I still believe this. Kong and Behemoth going at it. That's a dream. Something I want to see. That it's a dream match. Since I've seen
it's funny you bring that up because I saw a picture the other night of Kong riding Rodan into battle.
I love it.
Which kind of would be sick but cheesy at the same time, but I would love it.
But I'm serious. Like we don't know what we're gonna get with this movie just yet, so we don't know the budget. So when you hire this new marketing director, and he comes in, he or she, the person comes in and says, "This is what we got to do."
It is a he.
Okay, he comes in. This is what we got to do. We got to scale this back. We got to tone it down. And why don't we just play it towards the fans of this franchise, of this genre, and don't go big with the marketing budget, especially if we already went big with the film budget. And I think if you do that, and the movie can make back its money, whatever it spent on the movie, and let's say $100 million extra. If the marketing budget is relegated to $50 million, $50 to $70 million, $75 million, I think that's perfect. We just can't be lighting up buildings anymore. Which would be crazy, because if King of the Monsters worked and made a shitload of money, there's no doubt in my mind the Empire State Building of all buildings wouldn't be lit up. They would go in heavy with this, like, hey,
light Kong on it.
Right. And dude, just things like that in that marketing sense, in that marketing scheme. I don't see any of that happening. I think you need to really dial it back. And I don't think this is a high priority on this dude's agenda. That's why I stepped out of the fanboy thing. I wanted to say that. I wanted to say that this franchise right now is not a disaster. It's not a train wreck. It's not. But the brakes have stalled. We're running out of track. So
yeah, there's some debris in the middle of the road we gotta get through.
We gotta get through.
I'm gonna get past it. Waiting for the tow truck.
Exactly. So I'm thinking that this isn't the high priority on his list, but it's definitely something he has to acknowledge because of what it is. You know what I'm saying? It don't matter what the movie is. It is two iconic monsters. They both. I think King Kong should have a star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame, but Godzilla does.
He does.
So yeah, you got 2 stars on the Hollywood Walk of Fame. You got to do something with this. I just don't think it is the red alert status for this person. It is not high priority. It's unfortunate. If it sounds wrong to us G fans, just understand that is sort of what reality is. That this is not his top priority. As much as we would love it to be, I don't think it is. Now I'm going to jump back into my fanboyism and be like, I can't wait for anything. You know what I'm saying? A morsel. I cannot. Do me a favor. Just go back and take one of the excerpts from the ending of King of the Monsters, the newspaper clippings, and then expand on something like that. Just do that. A little tidbit, a little nugget. Do something just to expand on the universe, this mythology. And I'm okay until we see something. I am perfectly okay until we see something. This right here looks like a step in the right direction. This photo of this Kamazats, whatever, the death god bat thing, that's awesome.
And going back on Kamazats, I just wanted to read something to you too. Kamazats is prominent in Mayan mythology, where the figure is associated with sacrifice, night, and death. The literal translation of the name Kamazats in English is death bat. And then it says that it has one single eyeball.
That looks like it has 2 eyes in this picture here.
Yeah. So.
Oh my God! Yeah. I'm looking at this picture. I don't know if you have it up on your phone, but I'm looking at this picture, and I'm probably gonna get a lot of flack for this, but this face, it's got like a new age King Caesar-ish vibe going on there.
Yeah,
like,
I see it.
You see it, right? It's there. I mean, I'm not saying that's what it is, but it's there. Totally. There's some features there that it brings King Caesar to mind. I love it. I can't lie. I love this. If this is so, let me ask you, where did you find this? Where did this come from? Besides Los Angeles Comic Con, but like, was there anything else attached to this story? Because I can't see them doing this presentation, showing this, and not giving just a little bit more info.
Yeah, okay, so hold on just 1 second. I also want to rebuttal. Kong actually does not have a star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame. I just looked it up.
Okay.
Wanted to make sure because I thought it was true, and then I guess it's not. So he does not as of this moment.
That's why Godzilla's better, people. That's why Godzilla's better. Just saying.
So I saw this on Instagram, just in my Godzilla feed. It just popped up everywhere. And then there were some pages talking about how, like, apparently someone at that LA Comic-Con leaked the video in a group. And so I didn't see the video, but the people are saying that the group that they saw the video in, they said all it was of Kamazats. All it was of that. So I don't know where else to find it. I didn't know if anything else was attached. I kind of hoped there was more stuff to it. I definitely think that if this was indeed a Godzilla versus Kong panel, but it's not being leaked, and the fact that nobody knew about it, it wasn't even reported, that I guarantee there's more stuff that was talked about that we don't know about. Who knows? Maybe they saw a teaser for Godzilla versus Kong and no one has said anything yet.
Oh,
the fact remains is that what still baffles me is that for weeks, there was talk of New York Comic-Con. There was talks of all these other licensing expos and stuff, but no one said anything about LA Comic-Con.
All right.
And it's kind of a thing that's like, well, wait a minute. LA Comic-Con, didn't that happen in, like, July? And I'm like, wait, no, that's San Diego Comic-Con.
That's the big daddy. That's the big daddy of them all.
Yeah, exactly. And so I'm like, man, this kind of snuck up under the radar. And it's like, now I'm excited to, like, what else were they talking about? So nothing else that I know of or have seen yet has come to light, like, as in a video. All I know is just there's many pages that I tend to look at have been saying that we've seen the video and it is legitimate, I mean, I don't deny its legitimacy because just the way it has sparked fire and the fact that there is a video out there, I just haven't seen it yet. So I'm interested as much as you are. So I guess just in the next coming days or this week, I feel like maybe Tuesday we might see something.
I like
maybe
that.
Something comes out. Tuesdays are usually news days for Godzilla, I gather.
Tuesdays is usually news days for cinema in general. So yeah, I'm totally down with that one.
Yeah, exactly. So I guess we'll just wait and see. But other than that, I'm excited, man. I think it's cool.
Let me ask you this question.
I will say I enjoyed the Kong Skull Island comics a little more than the Godzilla one.
We're in the same boat, brother. We're on the same boat.
Just because they have just more of this mystical essence to them. They have more groundedness to them. It feels like the Godzilla comics are kind of so dramatic. They just go all over the place and. It's just, yeah. No, I'm not wanting to talk crap about those because I still love them, but the Kong Skull Island ones have a really good, like, continuation and stuff, like learning about Kong's parents and stuff like that. I really enjoyed that. Made me feel for Kong. There was really good meat and potatoes to him.
I'm glad you brought that up because that was where I was going. I wanted to ask you this question. So, if Kong is getting this prequel novel to Godzilla vs. Kong, and I think the reason why they're doing this is because, of course, Kong wasn't really featured in King of the Monsters. I mean, we saw clips from Skull Island. They acknowledged, stock footage. We acknowledge Kong exists, and then at the end with the newspaper clippings, a lot of it centers around Skull Island. That being said, do you think Godzilla might get a tie-in graphic novel also?
I mean, I don't want to say no, but I think that this is specifically going to be like, in my mind, Kong has been dormant since Kong Skull Island. There hasn't really been much talk of Kong. And if you're a big fan of Kong Skull Island, and if you're interested in Godzilla vs. Kong, you're going to be more interested in what's going to happen with Kong You're going to be more interested in, like, what has Kong been up to? And I think this is a comic that's definitely going to be the main focus, maybe. I don't think Godzilla's going to have his comic just because King of the Monsters had it. I don't know if there's really a point to have Godzilla have a prequel novel. Maybe if they want to add Godzilla to Kong's prequel novel, maybe they could do that.
That's where I was going next. Yep.
But I don't think there's going to be a specific Godzilla tie-in graphic novel. I definitely think the main focus is going to be Kong.
Yeah, go ahead.
And with that being said, Kong's going to be a big focus in Godzilla versus Kong. So
right,
and I don't mean that, like as in because it's Godzilla versus Kong. I mean if they're making a literal graphic novel for Kong, he's going to probably be a big thing. And I kind of expect Kong to be this thing because you have a compassionate, empathetic monster. I bet there's going to be a big thing with him and Millie Bobby Brown's character. There's got to be something. And
she seems to be like the Titan Whisperer. You know what I mean? Like
seems to be.
She did.
So I mean, I'm on board. I'm excited to see. But the thing is, what kind of excites me about all of this is that means eventually we're going to start seeing stuff like merchandise. And all those plans. And there's been brief talks about stuff like that. But this means like I'm excited to know like what stuff's coming out. But I was actually going to ask you a question.
Yeah.
I don't know whether we're going to.
Before you do, I just want to say I agree with you. Instead of Godzilla having its own graphic novel prequel to Godzilla vs. Kong, I absolutely believe, and again, this is what I said a little bit earlier in regards of Deathbat here, we'll see Godzilla or King Ghidorah and all of the monsters from King of the Monsters in that graphic novel in some sort of a flashback sequence to the movie, referencing the movie, where it's either King Ghidorah standing on top of the volcano, letting out its roar, letting the world know I am here, or it's the end where Godzilla's standing on top of King Ghidorah like, I am the king. If they do that, and again, this is why this thing wakes up, I'm totally down with that. So I think, if we're going to see anything, we're going to see that. And if that is come to pass or doesn't, there's no doubt in my mind we will absolutely see Godzilla towards the end of that book. Because maybe Kong defeats this thing and lets out a mighty Kong roar. And the last thing you see is Godzilla's eyes looking in a certain direction. Kind of like, woo, I'm with it.
We see Godzilla's fins in the water going towards Skull Island. Man. That would be scary, but cool at the same time.
Seriously.
There's just something scary about that to me, of Godzilla just heading towards something where you know shit's going to go down.
You know, it's funny. It's funny. A long time ago when Kong Skull Island was coming out, we did a block party, and I remember, I thought it was the best thing I ever did, because I was like, my photoshopping skills without using Photoshop. I took a picture of Godzilla, just its fins in the water, and it was already cropped for me, so it was perfect, and I put it in the scene of Kong Skull Island, where they're going into the typhoon storm, the hurricane storm.
Yeah, I remember that.
Oh, man, and so I'm like, that's what I want to see now. That's what I use.
Oh my God, could you imagine monarchs following Godzilla into the typhoon? Dude, that would be so cool. Like the part in 2014 when the ships are following him and he's in the middle of the ships. Oh, I love that.
I love that, man. You know what? That brings me, and I want to get to the question you have, but that brings me to a whole thing. Monarch has been on Skull Island. Obviously, they're doing things. How did they get there? They couldn't have got. That's a crazy ass. Did they use submarines? That would be the only thing I could think of. Them going underneath.
It's possible, right? I mean, they got helicopters through it. You got to think now too, with their technology. Technology's different now than it was during Vietnam. I'm interested in that too. Maybe they have defense mechanisms on their ships that fight against storms or something like that. Maybe because of what King Ghidorah did, they made a technology that can help stabilize them better, where they're more efficient in storms and weather like that.
See, this is the part of the podcast, ladies and gentlemen, that I absolutely love, when we get to speculate and create our own theories because it's fun, and whether they come to pass or not, it's just these cool ass theories. Like what you just said right now with the technology because of King Ghidorah, like something to oh god, I love it. Thank you, Chase. I love you.
No, absolutely. I'm excited about it just as much as you are to figure out all what it is. But yeah, no, I just think that would be so cool. They're like Godzilla's heading to Skull Island, and it's like, why? They're like, why is he going there? You know, and it's just like, oh no, shit's going down.
or it turns around that Monarch at this whole time has been developing a Mecha Godzilla, and Godzilla is now onto it.
Godzilla's pissed. Oh, I just would think that's amazing too. Like Godzilla's not happy, and that would make so much sense with like, good thing he's on our side, and she's like, for now,
because it's an affront to nature.
Exactly. And I think like it would be really insane. Like Godzilla turns a little bit in this movie, and Monarch is not believing they are friends anymore with him because they made a mistake.
It's going to be more like, I'm going to use a wrestling term here, Godzilla's going to be more like a Stone Cold Steve Austin type of character. He's going to be he's an anti-hero. You know what I mean? Kind of like Gamera 3. Gamera 3 was like, I'm out to save the earth. You know, you people, y'all just in my way. But I hope that's not the case. I really don't. I really do hope that that's not the case.
I think by the end of the movie, there's going to be like, oh, Godzilla and Kong are both heroes.
Right. And Mothra comes back. And Mothra comes back, and she's like behind them. She's like flying behind them.
Yeah. And Rodan and then they end up making the Godzilla Avengers.
Yes! The Avengers theme hits. That's it, bro. That's it. We're rocking and rolling on to the next phase. But anyway, what was the question you had for me, bro?
Yeah, I just had a question because like I was talking about the whole marketing thing. I was wondering, and I'll go first if you want to think about it. But let's say you were part of the marketing team. How would you do it? And I was pondering on this the other night, and I was like, if I was part of that marketing team, there'd be several things I would do. For one, I would get Godzilla, King of the Monsters, attached to a McDonald's. Like something with McDonald's, some sponsorship. Now, whether you like McDonald's or not is totally irrelevant. But the fact remains, McDonald's is the #1 biggest fast food chain on our planet. You put Godzilla versus Kong in there, like a food thing, maybe like a meal deal. Because like if I remember right, the supersize thing came from Jurassic Park or something like that. That's when they started supersizing, and that's the lore. I don't remember exactly, but it had to do with a monster, with a movie, and I don't remember if it was Jurassic Park. I think it was Jurassic Park. They started the supersize thing, and it just stuck. But my idea would be like to add like Godzilla versus Kong stuff, marketing that way, just because you get a lot of people are there, and it's going to be in people's heads. Now, whether or not that's efficient or not, you never know. Marketing, you never know what's efficient and what's not until it happens. But I would do that. Add like maybe games, maybe do the little Godzilla versus Kong toys. McDonald's toys. Kids are going to go crazy for that. I would do something with McDonald's. I would also do merchandise. I would do shirts. That's the one thing I'm upset about because Legendary, people buy shirts. People buy clothing. You need to have Godzilla merchandise like clothing, and they don't. I feel like if you have shirts I would buy a shirt in a heartbeat. Godzilla versus Kong shirt. I mean, I bought Hot Topics Legendary exclusive Godzilla shirt, and I love it. And I would love for them to do stuff like that. Have shirts. I would do like little things like shirts and posters. Just things that consumers want. And that's the one thing that I've seen a big miss out of Legendary is they don't do a lot of that. And it's not that it's not that I don't understand why. I'm just a little upset to it. I understand the cost of money for these things is a big factor. But the thing is I feel like paying stuff off like that would work, And I think McDonald's is one of the biggest things you could do to advertise. And I would, along with the shirts, I would start for like advertising. Maybe I would put something in the Super Bowl. Maybe I'd do something for the Super Bowl.
Well, that's
like maybe a trailer or teaser.
Let me tell you something. That is actually the perfect spot to do it, and we've been waiting. So, like I said, if you have the first trailer drop on Godzilla's birthday, and I mean, and it's more for us, the fans, and then they put that trailer with Star Wars and Jumanji a month later in December, then the Super Bowl is right around the corner in the first week of February. You put the second and final trailer. That's it. If you want to do TV spots during basketball, fine. But final trailer, a month away from the movie, a month and some change away, that's how I would do it.
Exactly. And that's another thing that brought to my attention is that you got to understand, if this movie's coming out in March, we're not going to get trailers like King of the Monsters did. And I like that, but also it's like we're probably only going to get one or two, probably one trailer, and I hope not. I hope we don't get TV spots.
It's going to happen, unfortunately.
Unfortunately, yeah. But we're going to get probably only one trailer, I think. And one trailer and then one final trailer for the movie drops. We're not going to get like 1, 2, 3, or 4, or like the 11 or 20 of them we got for King of the Monsters. And I hope that ends well, but I definitely would put it for the Super Bowl. Not like the Super Bowl has, because I know the Super Bowl is kind of a thing where they haven't been doing much trailers lately, but I still would do that. I would marketing some way. And that's honestly what I would do with marketing, but I'm interested. What would you do?
Well, I love your McDonald's idea, because the thing I think about is have a company battle. Is it the Big Mac or is it the double quarter pounder? You know what I mean? Like, they're two biggest sellers.
Like the Godzilla chicken sandwich over the triple decker Kong slam or something.
Right, and then like interjecting with sequences from Godzilla vs. Kong, or just Godzilla and Kong. You don't have to be sequences from that movie. That's a really cool idea. Hell, I mean, it's not out of the realm of possibility. If I'm not mistaken, I think it was McDonald's or maybe Burger King, and I could be mistaken, but it's been a very long time. But I'm pretty sure one of them had King Kong stuff. When Kong was coming out, like cups with Kong on it.
That was Burger King.
It was Burger King, right? So
yeah, Peter Jackson's King Kong, right?
Oh no, I'm talking about like the De Laurentiis Kong 76 and King Kong Lives. I went way before your time. Ooh. When I was just a wee lad. I vividly remember seeing merchandise. So and then '98 you had Taco Bell was repping the Trizilla.
Yeah, I remember the commercial of the Taco Bell dog trying to catch Godzilla. It's like, we're gonna need a bigger net.
We're gonna need a bigger net. But I'll tell you the one thing that I would do that is not done anymore, and this is where you get future generations hooked. You George Lucas this mother fragger. Okay, I almost cursed. I'm sorry, y'all. You George Lucas this thing. George Lucas, when making Star Wars, something I don't know the details 100% or verbatim, I should say, but I know the gist of it. George Lucas was like, okay, you can make the money off of these movies. I'm gonna get what I gotta get, but I want, because they didn't believe in it. They did not believe this was gonna be anything. So George Lucas was like, all right, you don't believe in it, that's fine. You don't believe in it, give me all the licenses rights. Give me 100% of the licenses, toy deals. And then Star Wars turned into what Star Wars turned into. And George Lucas made 100% of the profits off of the toys. And the toys sold. And I'll tell you right now, I was buying them all. I not me personally, not the originals came out, but I had them. I was getting them from Christmas, birthdays, my parents was getting me them toys. When I was old enough and they re-released them in the theaters and they brought out the new, I think it was called Power of the Force line, I was in Toys R Us every paycheck buying Star Wars stuff. You couldn't stop me. You could not stop me, okay? That's what I would do. For this movie especially. Universal does this well with the Jurassic Park line. Start making commercials and promoting the commercials for Godzilla vs. Kong action figures. Start doing it.
Oh my God! I remember the Trendmasters Godzilla toys commercials.
They were commercials.
And I would love them. I would be like, I would rewatch the commercial again and be like, Mom, Dad, I want it. Ah.
Exactly, but we don't get that anymore. At least I don't see it. Maybe
Rarely
it comes
see
on
toy commercials nowadays. Rarely.
And that's the thing. So, like for instance, those things would come on Cartoon Network or Nickelodeon. I don't have a child young enough to watch those channels, and there's nothing on either one of those channels that makes me want to watch them. You know what I mean? I can totally watch all the Teen Titans, and I'm not saying that that's what I watch, but Young Justice, for instance. I can watch all of Young Justice right now on my DC Universe app. I can watch, well, no, not really Avatar, but there's ways to watch other shows. I'm just saying, there's ways to watch other shows. Disney's coming out with a streaming service, and they're going to have the Clone Wars on there. I can watch my Star Wars, get my Star Wars fixed there, Clone Wars. There's no cartoon right now that makes me want to watch either one of these networks. Maybe Adult Swim, if I'm into whatever anime they got going on, maybe I'll pop down. But there's nothing that's going to make me want to watch anything. But that's not saying that there ain't shit on those channels for kids, because obviously these channels are still going, so obviously these kids are watching whatever they're putting out. Steven Universe or whatever, Adventure Time. I don't watch any of those shows. The last original show that I actually watched on like Nickelodeon was Avatar and Korra. You know, those were the last ones. Did appeal to me. I was like, I'll watch this. If they brought something like that back, I'd watch it. But it's not about me. I'm going to see this movie anyway. It's about getting these toy commercials out, selling these fucking toys. I did it. I didn't want to. Selling these toys. Sell the toys. Put these toy commercials. Make these toy commercials. If I'm not mistaken, we were talking about this a couple of podcasts ago. Did Playmates buy the rights to make these toys now? So, yeah.
They will be making Godzilla vs. Kong toys.
So, Playmates used to have some cool-ass Ninja Turtle commercials back in the day when I was growing up, and I loved the Ninja Turtles, and it was all over my, cartoon feed. So, do that. Yeah, that's what I would do in terms of marketing. Forget marketing the movie to the masses. I'd market this movie where it belongs. To the young and innocent, and dare I even say naive child. And I don't mean that in a negative way. I mean it in a way where a parent who doesn't watch Godzilla movies, and so the kid ain't going to watch a Godzilla movie, but just puts them in front of the TV all day, and all of a sudden, this kid sees something really cool on TV, and that kid is like, oh my God, what is this? And it's it's Godzilla vs. Kong, and it's these action figures. And now this kid is like, I want this. What is this? And the kid, because the kid has a phone, or internet access, because that's the norm now, looks it up, sees there's a movie. Mom, Dad, can we please go see this? Why? Pretty please, tears in the eyes. And then next thing you know, we've got a convert to our cause. We have another fan. That's what you do. You got to go back after the kids, man. You got to go back after the kids. You can't rely on us old-ass people for the nostalgia, because apparently it didn't work for Godzilla King of the Monsters. It did not work. Go after the kids.
And that's the thing. I love that when movies try to please fans, but the thing is you got to have that mix, because you can't just please the fans.
You can't.
You
really can't. So I totally go after the kids with marketing, with the toys. Because think about, who doesn't want King Kong? Well, I can't say who doesn't want, but I'm saying if done correctly, there's nothing better than like giant monster toys, bro. Come on, it's awesome. It drives me nuts when I see things like G.I. Joe no longer existing, and I see Star Wars toys, and Star Wars toys are dope, don't get me wrong. But it's like, man, it's not the same. Like, the 80s was a boom. It was a booming time to be a toy collector. What we had. We need to go back to that. That's how I would market this.
That just basically ad marketing as well. I mean, because if you going back, you say kid looks up Godzilla vs. Kong toys, then he starts getting ads for the movie and stuff like that. Yeah, that's just how ads work. I agree. I think that would be great. The commercial stuff too.
Perfect example.
Watching Cartoon Network, Nickelodeon. What's that?
Perfect example. and I always got this wrong. I always, in my head, played it a different way. But when Transformers, the movie, came out in 1986, right? I was like, get me into this theater. Like, somebody, please take me to see this movie. I had no idea. And then all I remember is seeing a commercial, and in the commercial, I'm seeing Optimus Prime getting shot up, and the narrator of the commercial says, "Does Optimus Prime die?" Or something to that effect. Something to that effect. And I was like, what? And from that point on, it was 1986. I was like 7 years old. Growing up, I'll always be like, hey, you remember the commercial where the guy was like blowing it in a movie saying, "Does Optimus Prime die? Do you remember? And everybody was like, yeah, kind of. But in my head, it was like, oh my God, because then I saw the movie and Optimus Prime did die. Spoilers on a 30-year-old movie. And I was like, yo, this is crazy. Cut to a couple years back and I buy the anniversary edition and they have the trailers on it. That was a toy commercial. It was a toy commercial. And you know what they did at the end of that toy commercial? They showed a trailer for the movie, and that's where that happened. So I blocked out the toy part. I blocked out the part where they were selling, Ultra Magnus and Galvatron, and all I remembered from that toy commercial was, does Optimus Prime die? And it was a trailer for the movie. That's what we need to go back to. And I'm not saying, does Godzilla die? No, we don't need none of that. But have this toy commercial where you see King Kong versus Godzilla and they're fighting, or Godzilla versus King Kong, whatever the case may be, and then kids are having fun and enjoying playing with toys. They don't do that no more. Make these kids enjoy playing with the toys again. Come on. And then at the end of the commercial, have a small trailer.
To have like an army set of little trucks and then Godzilla and Kong figures, and I'm like shooting at all of them and stuff like that and playing around with them.
I'm telling you, the last good toy commercials I've seen were for Jurassic Park toys, honestly. And it's not that hard to do. So I would love to see that. That if I was in charge of marketing, let's get these toys out to the kids. Because here's the thing. Yes, Playmates are going to get a cut, but you're also going to get a cut. So you're going to make money back from that. And those toy commercials aren't going to cost you what it's going to cost to market this movie globally like King of the Monsters. So they could have recouped money with toy commercials for King of the Monsters. And the problem we have is the fact that the best looking figures come at high prices. And that's the issue. But if Playmates is going to give us a line of really cool Godzilla versus Kong toys, get those commercials rolling. Those commercials you need to shove down the kids' throats. Do that. Get these kids talking. Get these things under the Christmas tree. That's what we need to do, and that's how I would market it. But yeah, man. Any last things before we wrap this up, brother?
Yeah, just one last thing. Speaking of marketing, it has been announced that there's going to be a new Godzilla vs. Kong mobile game, along with the one that was reported months ago. But don't get too excited unless you're really into casino-type mobile games. They are making a Godzilla vs. Kong casino game. So if you're excited for that, woohoo. But if you're not, I understand. I'm not too excited. But the reason I bring it up is, why would Legendary do this? Why do you think Legendary would make a casino game?
Gee.
Is there a big market for those?
Let's see.
That is a waste of money, in my opinion, and I'm not happy.
How about this? 10-cent pitches.
10-cent pictures.
Legendary's partner, the Chinese.
Makes sense.
The Chinese partner.
Okay.
The casinos are big in Japan. I don't know about China. I'm pretty sure it's just an 8, and that's not
gambling
racist.
is very big in China.
So that's where it stems from. So maybe that's not a Legendary thing. Maybe that's a 10-cent thing.
Okay. All right. I'll be behind that. I just thought it was very interesting that they're doing a new. I mean, on one hand, I think it's great. Cool. More mobile games, and I'm interested to see what the other one is that they haven't talked about. I just think it's also kind of funny they announced this is going to be a casino game, but then the other one they're not talking about, so maybe it's going to be something bigger than a mobile game, which I'm down. I mean, I when I'm bored, not wanting to play my PlayStation, I'll sit and play my Angry Birds 2 or my Jurassic World Alive. I have on my phone. I tried the Godzilla games that came out. I tried that one that you can buy on the marketplace right now. The Godzilla one. I don't remember what it's called. Godzilla Defense Force. That game was okay for a bit, but it's too repetitive for me, so I stopped playing it. But I still have my Godzilla Smash 3 game on my phone, and I love that game. That game was fun. I would love, actually, if the Godzilla game they're keeping secret for the mobile game is a Smash 3, because I love that game. That game was fun. But so yeah, that's the one thing I wanted to mention. But to me, it just kind of tied in with marketing a little bit, because that's kind of a thing that's coming out, and still no talk of trailer or anything. But yet there's marketing and merchandise. So we got that to look forward to.
All right, so we're marketing and merchandising to a generation of 18-plus-year-olds, and I say we need to market and merchandise to the very young generation to get the next generation of G fans started now. And ladies and gentlemen, that will do it for this episode of the Godzilla Block Party. Thank y'all for listening in. Seriously, this was not impromptu, but sort of impromptu because of my good friend here, Kamazats. But anyhow, yo, Brother Chase, thank you for joining me today.
As always, thank you so much.
And thank y'all out there for listening to this episode. I'm actually going to post this right now. So we're going to go up live. Not live, but we're going to go up today. So yes, you get this episode unedited and in your face directly at about whenever you're listening to this, which would probably be about an hour and a half to 2 hours from right now. Anyhow, that'll do it for the Godzilla Block Party. I am G1. Y'all been great. We out of here. Peace.